Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. There are so many things happening in the world. Seems to be all at once. Is it coincidence? Is it some room for people to make a conspiracy theory? I just don't know. By the way, I do apologize for last night's broadcast. I had a moment where I was on mute and I was still speaking. Nonetheless, I will edit that in post. So if you want to share that video with someone, it should be fixed by the time I get done with this video altogether. But nonetheless, thank you for joining me here this morning. We begin with a concerning development with the Last Frontier, a Bering Air flight, Grand Caravan, because there was over 10 people that vanished over Alaska's Norton Sound. The aircraft was en route from Ukulele to Nome, carrying 9 passengers and a pilot. Its last known positions were recorded approximately 38 minutes after takeoff, flying over the frigid waters. Rescue teams, including the U.S. Coast Guard and National Guard, have launched extensive search operations. However, harsh weather conditions with snow, fog, and sub-zero temperatures are hampering efforts. Authorities urge locals to refrain from personal search attempts due to the perilous environment. This incident marks the third major aviation event in the U.S. within just over a week. Now, there's nothing that the last administration or this administration, in my opinion, has alluded to these mishaps and these accidents, very tragic accidents of people losing their lives. And now we have a passenger plane of 10 people being lost somewhere in Alaska. Now, if it fell within some of those mountains or we to be in the cold, frigid waters, unfortunately, there's not enough information to know exactly what has occurred. Hopefully, there's some miraculous story where these people are found alive and they're surviving. But again, during this time of the year, it's very, very cold in Alaska. Again, Alaska is the last frontier, essentially. They still have a lot of wild, areas because Alaska, by the way, is the largest state in America. Now, I know we're always looking for California and Texas because they're very populated, but if you look at Alaska, it's very, very large. And again, it has, it has all sorts of land animals, sea creatures, etc. And hopefully we can find these people alive, but I don't, the reports on that are very dim, so to speak. And again, as people are beginning to really save up to travel, I know this is kind of putting a loom effect on their possible vacations or their possible visits to family and friends. But nonetheless, hopefully we can keep all these people in our prayers and have them to return home safely. Yeah, this is one of those really stories that I never, wanted to hear about. I used to do research on the Bermuda Triangle, how these ships used to get lost and never to be found again, and movies started to come out. But again, hopefully there's nothing as weary as those things, but I'll keep you guys updated. If you're new to Blacklogic, please subscribe to the channel. Now, turning to the political arena, President Trump has recently issued a series of executive orders. And we know that a lot of the executive orders raise a lot of eyebrows among legal experts because these actions include the dismissal of 17 agency inspector generals without prior congressional notification. I didn't let Congress know I'm just going to do it. And an attempt to challenge the 14th Amendment birthright citizenship clause and the pardoning of over 1,500 individuals connected to the January 6th Capitol events. Critics argue that these moves are testing the limits of his executive power and could undermine democratic norms. Now, while some congressional Republicans remain silent, they said we're just going to sit back and see what occurs. Democrats and state attorney generals are mounting legal challenges, emphasizing the potential risk to the nation's democratic framework. So he's challenging the Constitution at every turn with a lot of his executive orders. A lot of his executive orders are just, but there are a few that are in question that may or may not violate the Constitution. And that is why we have the Supreme Court. Eventually, a lot of the executive orders that a lot of the Democrats, as well as these federal judges, are challenging, it will eventually have to go to the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court are the ones who supposedly are the highest state of law in America, and they're the ones who will interpret the Constitution as they see fit because they vote as well to see if a lot of things that's occurring are legal to do. So again, I'm gonna keep you abreast as that unfolds. Now, in immigration, Despite the administration's stringent stance, reports indicate that immigration and custom enforcement agents, ICE, they released approximately 460 illegal immigrants from custody since President Trump took office. This development comes amid a broader crackdown on illegal immigration with over 8,000 arrests reportedly. These releases have sparked discussions about the challenges and complexities of immigration enforcement under the current administration. Now, so far, they have reports of only 8,460 has been released. And when they mean released, they mean released back into America. And these are the things that I wonder how I wonder how Pete Hegseth, I wonder how Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, and California are going to respond. Because again, we have over 13 million illegal immigrants, and the number is still climbing as more reports come out how many people are illegally in the country. So I wonder, a lot of these arrests are almost like fear tactics, how they publicize a lot of these arrests. And some of this may work where people are just going to go back home. As I stated before, there were some countries telling, I believe it was Venezuela, was telling their compadres, they were telling their people, just come on back home. We're going to create support groups. We're going to create opportunities. We're going to build jobs. So again, on some hand, this is great for people who never wanted to come to America. And the only reason why they came to America is to, get an opportunity, get a job, feed their family. This is a great opportunity that has inspired, motivated, and in some cases, incentivized other countries to do the right thing by their people, to do the right thing by their citizens, and not be a burden on another country that has a massive illegal immigration problem. So again, a lot of businesses, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, what is America going to do without their workforce? Again, we have millions of America who are able-bodied, who are unemployed, who will go and apply for these jobs. Now, do some of them have to be trained? Do some of them have to be licensed and certified? Absolutely, but they have already should have been that, but these jobs didn't exist because they was operated by illegal immigrants. So again, hopefully we can again motivate, support, and benefit the American citizens to go out and get these jobs for the people who came into the country illegally. Yes, Israel and the United States of America having discussions about a part of Palestine, the Gaza Strip. Despite the administration's stringent stance on the cultural front, you have a pro-Trump Arab American organization has rebranded itself following controversial remarks by the president regarding Gaza. Originally named Arab Americans for Trump, the group has adopted the new title, Arab Americans for Peace. This change was prompted by President Trump's proposal to take over Gaza and transform it into Riviera of the Middle East, a suggestion that has been met with criticism within the Arab American community. The group's leadership emphasized that while they have supported the president, they do not endorse the idea of displacing Palestinians from their homeland. And there's been a lot of Democrats, there's been a lot of liberals that come out and has been beating a drum, touting their chest, speaking loud and proud about this is why you should have never voted for Donald Trump. Arab Americans for Trump, this is why you should have never voted for Trump. We told you he was a dictator. We told you he was a fascist. This is not coming from me, but this is coming from those liberals and Democrats. But again, you had to know of some of the authoritative moves that Trump was going to make. No one will ever think that Trump was going to go in and not only stop the war and get a ceasefire and possibly a peace treaty, but then somehow negotiate and or take over economically, not using American troops, the Gaza Strip. Are we serious? Are we still talking about Canada being the 51st state? Are we talking about the most Greenlanders, even though they did an in-country survey that say the 85% of Greenlanders do not want to be part of America? They do not want to be American citizens. This is interesting. And this is why people don't like me. This is why my channel hasn't grown probably. because I don't take a side. People love people. I love someone very decisive who takes a side and stand 10 toes down. Well, when it comes to politics, that is how you get politically harmed. When you trust one side more than the other. Yeah, I thought the Democrats was the party of poor people. I thought the Democrats was the party of free speech. I thought that the Democrats was the party would support and benefit, those people who are low in poverty and lift them up, but they haven't done that. It seems as though that the Democrats had an LGBTQ transgender agenda. They had an illegal immigration agenda. And in some regards, everybody should be treated fairly, okay? When it comes, no matter your self-identification, your gender, your sex, whatever it may be, you should be treated fairly. But that is why a lot of people moved away from the Democrat and they jumped on the Trump train, or they jumped on the Republican train. There's been a lot of Hispanics. They're like Hispanics for Trump. And now a lot of those same Hispanics are crying foul that a lot of the amigos and amigas and compadres are being deported because they're here illegally. He told you he was going to get rid of illegal immigrants. And we're here for it. And again, that is why, when you're looking at a presidential candidate and you're looking at the policies and or legislations and bills they want to pass, you have to see what benefits you more than anyone else, because the vote starts with you, your family, your friends, your community, your state, and then the rest of America. If you don't see how it benefits you, your family, and your community, let alone your state, then maybe that's not the right candidate for you. Maybe they should have voted for Bernie Sanders. Maybe they should have voted for Marco Rubio. I don't know. Whoever was running for president, maybe you should have voted for, I forgot her name. She's part of the Intelligence Committee. She's the director of the Intelligence Committee. Tulsi Gabbard. Maybe you should have voted for her. So again, I don't know how people look at politics, but there are particular views and perspective that a lot of people have. I tell people this all the time, that majority of black people are very, very conservative. And matter of fact, I'm supposed to send a friend a list of conservative ideologies and liberal ideologies to give him a blanket test to see where he aligns. Because I believe you, majority of people, okay? And when I mean that, majority of Americans, I'm going to lean that you're going to be more conservative than more liberal. I just throw that out there. But again, a lot of people are asking, is there a behind the curtain deal that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are doing to see the economic value in the Gaza Strip? Because don't forget, the Gaza Strip has a very great view. They have great views of the water. They're talking about beachfront property. There's a lot of things that can be done in that area. But again, there haven't been peace in the Middle East for such a very long time. And if you believe you're going to displace millions of people without conflict in that area usually leads to combat. But suppose we're not going to use U.S. troops. I don't know. I don't think we should be part of that deal. I don't think he even should propose that deal. I think that was a wrong way to go. And hopefully he backs out of that ideology. But again, as the story unfolds, I would definitely keep you updated. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. This is crazy. I believe it's a little bit crazy, guys. But there are some things I want you guys to keep in mind. Every time you use a computer, rely on GPS, or witness a pacemaker keeping someone alive, you benefit from an invention made possible by Otis Boykin. By Otis Boykin, the brilliant electrical engineer who invented the precision resistor, a critical component used in computers, missile guidance systems, and pacemakers. His work has impacted everything from military defense to life-saving medical devices, yet His history really gives him the credit he deserves. Today, we set the record straight. Otis Boykin was a true pioneer of modern electronics. Born in 1920 in Dallas, Texas, Otis Boykin showed early promise in mathematics and engineering despite facing racial barriers. He attended Fisk University, a prestigious HBCU where he studied physics and engineering, later studied at the Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago, but had to leave due to financial struggles. Despite not finishing his formal education, he excelled as an engineer and innovator through self-learning and determination. His story proves that brilliance cannot be stopped by systematic obstacles. He still went on to change the world. In 1959, Boykin invented the precision resistor, a small but revolutionary electronic component that controlled electrical currents with extreme accuracy, preventing power surges and failures. His was cheaper and more reliable than previous resistors, making technology more affordable. He allowed for the development of smaller, more efficient electronic devices. This invention became the foundation of modern electronics. Without it, our world would not have advanced as rapidly as it did. Boykin's resistors were quickly adopted in computers, and it allowed for more efficient, reliable, and compact circuit designs. Missile guidance systems, which was used by the U.S. military, is still being used by the U.S. military for precision in navigation and targeting. His technology was used in pacemakers, enabled the creation of reliable, long-lasting heart pacemakers, saving millions of lives. Television and radios improved signal stability and sound quality, as well as consumer electronics found in phones, radios, and household appliances. Without Boykin's innovation, modern technology from personal devices to national defense would not be the same. Despite his groundbreaking contributions, Boykin faced racial discrimination in the engineering field, limiting his career opportunities, financial struggles that forced him to leave formal education, a system that often overlooked Black inventors, giving credit to white counterparts instead. But he persisted, and his work became the backbone of countless technological advancements. Boykin hails 26 patents, covering numerous electronic innovations. His work made modern computing, military technology, and medical devices possible. His resistors are still in use today, proving the long-lasting impact of his genius. Otis Boykin was more than just an inventor. He was a revolutionary force in modern technology. So the next time you use a computer, hear about a missile guidance or see a pacemaker saving a life, I want you guys to remember Otis Boykin and the contributions that he made not only to America, but to the world. You guys have a great and wonderful day. This is Blacklogic.